Now, is Jack Harlow falling off? Right now, it looks like Jack Harlow's career is failing in front of our eyes. The buzz around him isn't moving the same way that it did a couple years ago, right after he'd released What's Popping, the What's Popping remix, and was featured on Lil Nas X's Industry Plant. Jack Harlow at this point was on top of the world, and he was considered the new Drake. Come Home, The Kids Miss You was intended to sell 180 first week and only sold around 120 first week. And unlike my Doja Cat video, this isn't a reflection of misunderstood sales. This isn't us assuming that just because the sales were low, that means people didn't resonate with the album. This time the album was genuinely not a good album, other than a couple songs here and there. A year later, Jack Harlow went on to release Jackman, his third album, which sold 33k first week, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Right now I want to focus on, is Jack Harlow falling off? Yes and no. It's a bit complicated. One of the biggest downfalls for Jack Harlow is the Drake comparison. Jack Harlow as a musician and just as a popular figure shares a lot of the same characteristics as Drake in almost every way except lyrical capability. And say what you want about Drake's recent music, but he is still a veteran rapper and he can still be one of the illest rappers in the game right now when he's in the mood to be one. But the Drake comparison hurt Jack Harlow's career because it came too early in Jack Harlow's career. The only reason why Drake got to become the great hitmaker that we know him as today was because he was able to do that in his own right. He wasn't in anyone's shadow. When Drake was coming up, he wasn't necessarily labeled as the new Lil Wayne, the new Jay-Z, the new Eminem. He was just Drake, his own artist, just a new random artist on the come up. And because of this, Drake got to create his own artistry by going against rap norms through his emotional rap lyrics and his singing. This led to Drake creating his own image and his own new flavor of rap. Then he went on to become the hitmaker that we know today because he understood what he was good at in rap music. He understood his strengths and he understood his weaknesses. He focused on his strengths, he understood what he was good at, and that led him to making hits within that niche of hip hop. However, Jack Harlow didn't get to do that. Jack Harlow didn't get the opportunity to create his own craft and his own image in his own niche. And more importantly, he didn't get the opportunity to grow himself lyrically before even finding his own image. If he had done all these things, I imagine he would have understood what he's good at in music and then focused on that, thus making him the hitmaker that he wants to be. But people expected him to jump over the growing stage of his career and automatically just go from a nobody to a global hitmaker. And for a while, through What's Popping and Industry Plant, it looked like that might have been a possibility. But after his sophomore album failed, that's when we knew that that isn't going to be the case. And I guess to a degree, we honestly have ourselves to blame for this, as well as the industry, the record labels. Because through the internet, we are the ones who pushed this narrative on him that he's the new Drake. And this gave the labels reasons to try to mold him into a Drake clone. And when they tried to do that, they just ended up making a generic pop rapper. Now let's talk about the Jackman album. Before this album had released, if somebody had asked me, did Jack Harlow fall off? I would have said yes, 100% completely he had fallen off. And I know it's not fair to label an artist as fallen off just after one bad album, but reality is we live in a fast food nature of the music industry right now. When an artist puts out a bad album, especially early in their career, just like fast food, we chew it up, we spit it out, and we move on to the next thing. It shouldn't be that way, and it isn't right, but at the end of the day, it's reality. So I would have definitely said that Jack Harlow fell off, but he released Jackman, and in my opinion, I think this might have been the album that kind of saved him, because Jack Harlow changed himself in this album. He took a completely different approach and focused more on substance and lyrics. There was nothing pop about this album, there was nothing Drake about this album. This was the moment, or at least from my point of view, it looked like Jack Harlow decided to focus on who he is as a rapper and thus gain more respect in the culture. Because I've never met Jack Harlow before, I don't really know too much about this guy, but he does strike me, just from what I've seen online, as somebody who does have a genuine love and appreciation for rap and hip-hop music. And I'm not saying he was rapping like Nas or anything on this album, but one thing you can definitely see when you listen to this album is that there was effort, and there definitely is potential as a serious rapper in Jack Harlow. However, literally everything that I just said about the Jackman album may have been undermined with his recent newest single, Lovin' On Me. It was released November 10th, and just a couple weeks after its release, it went #1 on Billboard. Now let's address the elephant in the room. This is obviously the most industry-pushed song, I would say, in recent memory. If I'm being honest, and I'm not hating because I genuinely am a Jack Harlow fan, but I don't know a single person who listens to the song. I don't know a single person who's listened to the song in its entirety. That's including myself. I've never heard anyone play it on the radio. I've never even heard it on a car passing by. But it went #1. And a couple weeks after it went #1, right now as I speak, it fell from #1 to #6. So basically in the span of a month, the song went from released to #1 to #6, and it's still losing momentum. And this is what's confusing me, because now I'm asking myself, was this their plan this whole time? Jack Harlow and his label? Is this what they were intending to do this entire time? To make a quote-unquote real rap album to gain respect in the industry, and then quickly regress back to the Drake formula they've been pushing and clearly isn't working? Because if that is their plan, I would say it's a very bad plan, because clearly people resonate more with the grounded version of Jack Harlow rather than the generic version of him. And I still hold the genuine belief that if the grounded Jack Harlow could just hone his skills a little bit better, we could genuinely see him become a hit maker, and he could end up releasing hits that people genuinely want to listen to, hits that don't need artificial industry push to chart. But I don't know, that's just me. Did Jack Harlow fall off? I would say we can only make a definitive decision in the next year or two, depending on which formula they continue to push. But if they're still pushing the Drake formula, I would say Jack Harlow right now is on his way to falling off. And I hope that isn't the case. Now, I'm not a big YouTuber. I barely exist on this platform. I've said this before, so literally anyone who likes this video, please leave a like. That could help my channel grow in major ways. When you're a smaller YouTuber as I am, every single like counts. And if you really, really like this video, please subscribe, because I promise you there's way more videos on their way. And watch this next video while you're at it.